In the book, I tell his story of how Malik and his family goes to an adoption shelter, just like I did. They saw several dogs, and at the end, they ended up picking out Oliver and bringing him home. So it was a first dog for Malik, and then a change of life for Oliver. Because the whole book is based on, love, happiness, and family, and finding that missing piece in their lives. So Malik found the joy in having his dog, and then Oliver found the joy of finding finally a loving family.
Welcome to Ridiculously Blessed. I'm your host, Tim Jackson, and today's guest is a friend of mine I've known for quite a while. He's an author, a poet, and he's going to come share with us, one, about his book, and two, how he's ridiculously blessed. So, Maurice, how's it going, man?
I'm good, Tim. How's everything, brother?
Man, doing good. So, catch me up a little bit, man. Since the last time I talked to you, what's been going on with you?
Since the last time you talked to me, I published my first kids book. It's called Blessings Are for Dogs Too. And I wrote that story about a Cocker Spaniel that I had adopted back in 2012. So I just thought it was a great book to bring to the public. Everybody's an animal lover, so I thought it was a great idea and see how it would work.
Right. So was this the first dog you ever adopted, or had you had one before?
No, this is my first dog I ever adopted. Working late hours and doing different things. I just needed a little bit of a companion. And it just worked out with him. I went to an adoption shelter. I saw several dogs. When I saw him, I was like, that's the dog I want right there. And his name was Oliver. So when I adopted him in 2012, I thought of something. I said, I want to do dogs have blessings. So I was like, well, he's been adopted. He had been adopted 2 times and returned to the shelter.
Wow.
So I had found out that he was abused. So it just made a real good match for me and him. That was my best friend. That was my ride or die. Throw him in the car. He ready to roll with me anywhere he wanted to go. So then I just got the idea. I said, well, I got me one of those art pads, and I started taking pictures of him. And I said, well, look, I'm gonna make the characters from my family. So I made the main character my son, and I made the other characters my niece and nephews. So I just took pictures and I put them in that art pad. And then I laid it all out. And then I just held on to it because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. It was just an idea at the time. And 8 years, 10 years later, here I
am. Man. So with that being said, when you got the dog, you get him here, you add him into your lifestyle. What was the biggest adjustment for you?
I couldn't move and do a lot of things I used to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like a child. You need a babysitter or you need to take the dog with you. But 95% of the time, the dog rode with me in the car. Something I said I'd never do. But me and him rode anywhere. If I was traveling down the road, I take him. I go to New York, Georgia, anywhere I go, I just threw him in the car. So it was an adjustment, but it really wasn't an adjustment because I never really took him to any boarding houses. Anywhere I needed to go, I took. And then hotels started letting it be pet friendly. So that made it easier on pet lovers, being able to travel places. and you can have a dog in your room with you. So that made it real easy after that.
Now let's go back. You, like I said, you were an author already, a poet. How different was it to write a children's book from what you had done before?
For me, it wasn't hard because I had based it on a life, someone's life. So only thing I did was I changed my character, me, to my son, and I kept Oliver. So basically, I told his story. You know, in the book, I tell his story of how Malik and his family goes to an adoption shelter, just like I did. They saw several dogs, and at the end, they ended up picking out Oliver and bringing him home. So it was a first dog for Malik, and then a change of life for Oliver. Because the whole book is based on, love, happiness, and family, and finding that missing piece in their lives. So Malik found the joy in having his dog, and then Oliver found the joy of finding finally a loving family. So it wasn't hard because, like I said, everything in the book is true, and that makes it easier for me when I write, when it's a true story. I don't like making up a lot of fake things. So me doing that, exceptionally easy.
All right, now looking back on it, what's the memory that stands out to you most when you think about Oliver?
Um, it's a funny story though. When I first got him, when people dealing with adopted dogs, just like anybody, he wouldn't listen to me. It was crazy. He wouldn't listen to me. I come home, he'd be in the middle of my bed. He'd be on the couch, and I'm like, yo, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, we got that understanding, like, yo, the bed is not where you sleep. The couch is not where you sleep. Then I bought him a bed and everything. We just had that bond though. Like 12 years. I had him for 12 years. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. He had got sick in April. Went to the doctor, and everything was cool. And I went away on vacation for my birthday. And while I was away, which I said I really never bored him that many times, and I boarded him that weekend. And he passed away on Easter Day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of good memories. But like I said, it's just the foundation. God put him in my life for a reason. I guess for us to build it and to be a companion, because I'm single, I live by myself. So we just had that bond for 12 years.
So when you say God put him in your life for a reason, what do you think that reason was?
Um, I think really to slow me down, and give my life a little bit more purpose of what I was supposed to be doing. Um, you know, Everything that I've ever wanted in my life, I've asked God for, and I've been able to get it. And sometimes when we take God for granted, or we don't even acknowledge Him. So over all of my successes, I knew God was real, and I knew He was there for me. But I didn't understand it until maybe about 2 years ago, because during that time, I had been drinking. And when you're drinking, you think of a lot of things, you do a lot of things, but I didn't understand what God wanted me to do with my purpose until 2 years ago. I stopped drinking, and everything that I had imagined I wanted for myself as a writer, a person, my living conditions, everything just flourished. You know what I'm saying? It's like I didn't even have to ask Him for those things. Those are things that I had I had faith in getting it. Faith is, that's something that we can't see. You know what I'm saying? But I tell people, dream. When you dream big, because you don't know how far, them dreams will take you, and how your purpose, or the purpose God has you here for, what it's going to do for you. And as soon as I stopped drinking 2 years ago, everything just started moving right for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never wanted to buy a house. I got a house. I wanted a better job. I got a better job. I wanted to put this book together. And the book came together like in a month. Something that I have been holding on. I've been holding on to this book for 8 years. For 8 years, I've been holding on to this book. And this book wasn't even supposed to come out to Christmas. But God put it together for me so fast. And it was like, okay, now is the time to put it out. This is your time to put it out. And then I was only supposed to put out the book. And then God said, you know what? No, I want you to put out a coloring book. Then he said, you know what? Let's do a t-shirt line. Let's do hoodies. Let's do dog apparel. And I'm like, you sure? And then, like I said, everything just came together out of nowhere. Stuff that I wasn't even planning to do. And it all worked out. You know what I'm saying? I sent it to an illustrator. Me and her worked this thing out real quick. Got with my publishing company out of Atlanta, Mind Matters Publishing. And we put the book together so fast that we had the book ready by the end of July.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So when things happen like that and you start getting blessings start rolling in, it's easy to get to a place where we can't even believe it. All these things happen at one time. So did you ever get to a spot where you were like, wow, I need to step back and kind of take a look at everything?
I did. It's crazy because I had called a friend of mine one day, and I just sat on the stairs, and I was like, and she was like, yo, you crying? And she said, why you crying? I said, I don't even understand, like, how all of this is coming together. Like I said, you dream of things you want to happen. You dream it. And then when it happens, it just hit me for a curve. Like, I just had to sit down and cry about it. And that's why I say every day, dreams can, they come true. I've seen it, from my first book to this book now. I've been writing for about 12 years now. So everything that I want, it just came to fruition, but it's just determination, drive, and just knowing your purpose. Now I know what my purpose is, as a writer.
So one of the things I like to talk about on this podcast, Ridiculously Blessed, is blessings and lessons. So tell me, what's the biggest lesson you learned from all of this? From starting off as a poet, and you still do poetry, to becoming a children's writer, and in all of life's experiences. What are the lessons that stand out to you?
The biggest one is patience. That's my biggest lesson, is being patient. We live in a microwave society now. Put it in the microwave and your success is that big. I'm from the old school where you got to work hard, and you grind and you grind and you grind and you make it happen. And I feel that when you put in the work, God sees it. He sees that you're putting in that work. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's why I named it Blessings Off of Dogs too, because we all looking for blessings. And like I said, I'm a big believer in, if you believe, you dream big, anything is possible.
What's next for you? You've got the book, it's launched, and I see you have like pop-up shops and things you're working with. What else can we look for you?
I got a pop-up shop coming up think next week, Thanksgiving in Columbia, South Carolina. The 27th and 28th of November, I have a pop-up shop coming up in Charlotte, December 12th. And I'm working on my next two books. My next book is another poetry book, because that's when you met me back a while back. I had my first book, Strength Like Yours. That was poetry. But now my next book is called A Brother's Testimony. This is a book I've been writing for 15 years because it's my testimony. And like I said, it wasn't ready yet because my life is not done. So I have a testimony every day. But like I said, God put it now to say, you know what? This book is ready now, because this was supposed to come out before the children's book. But it just worked out that Blessings Off of Dogs 2 was ready. So I have that one coming out, A Brother's Testimony. And then I'm working on part 2 to Blessings Off of Dogs 2, First Christmas. One thing that I'm doing with the book, it's always going to be Blessings Off of Dogs 2, because what I did with it and I've learned over the years and just me working with my team to help me put it together, I made Blessings Off of Dogs 2 a brand. It's just not a book. It's a brand. And that's what makes it different than a regular children's book, because it's a brand. So you're gonna, like I said, I have it on t-shirts, I have it on hats, I have it on dog bowls, I have it on doggy coats. So it's a brand. So every time you see the Blessings Off of Dogs 2, that's the title, but it's gonna be subtitles underneath it. Like I said, so the next one is Blessings Off of Dogs 2, First Christmas. So I'm gonna have those ready for next year to come out.
Hey, if you like what you're seeing so far, remember to like and subscribe and follow us on social media. Thank you for watching the Ridiculously Blessed podcast. So how far do you see this going?
I see it going as far as God gonna allow it to go. I'm not gonna, I'm in a good space now. God got me in a good space now. So, I'm just gonna write and write till I can't write no more. The response I've been getting with the book has been great. All over the country, Africa, the UK, and then it's a Christian-based book, but not really. It's just a life book. But I've been getting a lot of feedback from different Christian schools, libraries. So the response is good. I put it out there to change lives, because just like he was adopted, we have kids that want to be adopted. And there's a whole lot of dogs, animals, period, not just dogs, but animals that are euthanized every year that need to be saved. Another thing I want to say is that a percentage from the book and the sales of all the merchandise goes back to animal shelters. So that's another big thing I wanted to do with Oliver passing in April, is give back to the same place that I got him from. So another dog or animal has that chance to be adopted too.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And like I was saying, we just got a new puppy. Man, it took 16 years for us to get the puppy, because we were getting them and then we're not, and then we are and then we're not, and we finally got them. And man, I don't know what we did before we had him. It's like, truly is a blessing. He's a part of the family. He's just, like I said, you might have heard him in the background just a minute ago. But looking back at that, do you feel like, Oliver just came around at the right time? It was like you said, divine.
It was, it was the right time, because it's funny. I had been looking for a dog, couldn't find a dog. I think I was at work one day, and a guy came into the store, and he said, "I need to buy a door." And I was like, "What you need a door for?" He said, "I got a dogs, and they tore a door up." And I said, "Man, I'm looking for a dog." He said, "Really?" He said, "Come by my shelter." I said, "Yo, is he free?" And my first question, is he free? And he said, yeah. And he said they trained. I said, oh man, bet. So I go by there. I looked at 5 dogs. I didn't like none of them. He brought Oliver out. And you remember I used to have dreads.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver had dreads.
Oh wow.
And I mean, because his coat was so long that they never cut it. For a Cocker Spaniel, it gets that knots. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's the dog I want. I kneeled down. He came right to me. You know what I'm saying? That man, let me tell you something. That's only God, bro.
Definitely.
That's only God, because I was searching for a dog. He was searching for a family. And he came right to me. And the dude told me, hey, let me give him a cut, pick him up tomorrow. I went back and picked him up. And then I called my mom's and I said, I got a dog. So then the dog wasn't even mine no more.
I know. Yeah.
Took the dog. My family took the dog. Like, even though we lived distances, we had to do, phone calls. Hey, how the dog doing? How my grandson doing? How my niece, nephew doing? It's family. They turned it into their dog, not my dog. He got better Christmas gifts than me.
Yeah.
My mother bought him a Sherlin coat. I'm like, I don't have a Sherlin.
Same here, man. Same here. That's what I said. My wife loves this dog to death, man. They're inseparable. He goes crazy when he sees her, and it's something about coming home and the times that he's here, he's jumping up, ready, just happy to see you. And I know how that changed me. So tell me a little bit about that. You go to work, you come back, and Oliver is there, and he's the first one you see, and he's been waiting for you. How does that feel?
Oh man, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. To come in the house and that wagging of the tail, or that just ready to jump on your legs, and man, it's I don't know. You gotta have a pet to just know. It's a feeling, man, that you can't even understand. And he was a funny cat, man, because he was old like me. He was an old dog, and he was laid back. Let me tell you something. The dog never barked. I never heard the dog bark, man. And I loved him for that one. Mm-hmm. Like, he had to really hear something he might bark, but to just bark for no reason, that wasn't him. I could take him to the park. Now, Cocker Spaniel's small. Mm-hmm. This dude see a Great Dane or Rottweiler, he want to get tough.
Yeah, they don't see size, man. They don't see size at all.
But man, it was like I said, it's just a joy to have that companion. And it's different than a person relationship or whatever, man. That companionship that we had was like I said, there was nowhere I went that I couldn't take him at all. He loved coats. He ain't like hats. He ain't like no hats. So he was different. He was different from me in that way, because I love my hats. But he'll throw a coat on in a minute, but put a hat on him, man. You saw that Paul he starts swiping and swiping and swiping. And he ain't wearing no glasses. I'm like, come on, man. I want you to get like these other dogs. They on TV got hats on, glasses. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Yep. Now tell me this: how long was it before you found yourself doing baby talk to him? Because I caught myself the other day. I was talking to the dog, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I'm talking to him like I'm doing baby talk, and nobody else in the house but me and him." So, did that happen to you, man?
I would probably say as soon as I got him. As soon as I got him. Because let me tell you something, man. It's funny what we'll do when we say we won't do it. And that's just the same thing we do with kids. I said I would never put the dog in the bed. So I let him get in the bed. I said, no, you got to get out. Dude, I'm trying to sleep. He moving. I'm moving. He moving. So, dogs like to lay under the backside of you, to keep warm. So he did that a couple of times, but he kept moving. And then after about 1 day or two, I said, you gotta go. You can't get in the bed no more with me, man, because you move too much, you know. But I mean, you just do it. You don't know you're doing it. Dude, I'll be riding with the dog in the car, you know. And I'm like, we talking like we conversating, you know. I'm like, yo, they go to the bridge. You see the bridge? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
you know, I roll, you know, you roll the window down, man. He got his head poked out, you know. You see over there, you see the other dog, you know. Yeah, you find yourself. People think you're crazy, bro.
Yeah, definitely. That's
You know.
how it was, man. I used to talk about people like that, and then I found out I was one of them. So
Well,
I got you.
like I said, we do things that we say we're not going to do. Like I said, I was never going to put the dog in the car. You know, he never wanted to ride in the front seat like on my lap. Well, he didn't like the front seat, but he had to have the whole back. You know, he wanted to run back and forth to go to the window, so I had to keep the windows rolled down. But I said I would never do that. And the next thing I know, I'm riding with the dog. Even when I got a new car, my mom's told me, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna let Oliver ride in the Cadillac. And she said, well, oh, you too good now? You too good to let the dog ride in the Cadillac? So, you know, and that's being just, you know, that's just being modest. You know what I'm saying? It just brings, you know, that humbleness down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you got blessed with a Cadillac, you know, Oliver was here before, and that's your family. And it's right. You know, there's nothing that was more of value than him and our friendship. So it didn't make a difference about the car, you know.
Yep. I'm same way. We got a car seat for the dog, man. I was like, I never thought I would get a car seat for a dog, and here I am. Like, we got to protect this dog. We got to make sure he's strapped in. He's good. Everything's good. Is it hurting him? You know, checking all of that. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Doing things that I never thought that I would be that person, and here I am.
Oh, let me tell you something, man. You have to strap them in, bro, because I got in a car accident in 2017, and he was in the back seat. And this is another God overlooking us, man, watching over us. I had put a lot of bags in the trunk, and when the car hit me, it pushed the whole side in. So when I got out and the police came, I looked at my car, the whole side was crushed to the door. And this is only God. It stopped just before Oliver. Just before, because if the bag wasn't there, he would have been crushed.
Man, look at that.
Yeah, but you gotta protect them, man. You know, they got all these, you know, they got a whole bunch of dog stuff now, bro. There's nothing out there for an animal that you cannot get. You know, and there's nothing at all. Everything. I mean, they got more stuff for animals now than they do for human beings. You know, that's how much people are loving, caring for, you know, for their animals, man. You know, and we see what's going on in the as far as you know, the abuse of animals and all of that. So I mean, that's why I advocate. I mean, I don't have a problem with getting a new puppy or nothing like that, but I advocate more for adoption, man. There's a whole lot of animals out there, and you know, the thing with animal shelters, if people don't know, you know, they only keep animals for a little while. You know, they euthanize probably like 900,000 animals a year. That's a lot of animals.
It's not.
900,000 animals a year they euthanize. You know, that's almost 1 million animals. You know, so I mean, before people think about going out buying a $700, $1,200, $5,000 dog, I mean, you can go right to the shelter, get, you know, shots and all of that stuff for a loving dog. Some people don't want to do that because the dog have been in bad situations. But let me tell you something, that's the most loving dog, because they looking for that comfort, that family, the things that they never had before. You know, not saying a new dog won't, but that old dog has been through some battles. You know, it's been through some trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? So when you know you got a person like me, I could see what he was going through with his trials and tribulations. You know, you know what certain dogs don't like. You know, he didn't like. You know, I found out he got abused by they beat him with paper. You know, paper, and and his first owners were women. So he was very sketchy around women. You know, he was cool with men, but women he wasn't too cool about. So it took him a time to adapt to that. You know, to that. But you know, that's why we got to get out there to these shelters, man. I mean, it's so many animals, so many animals. And I mean, you just go out there and look. I mean, you might never know what particular situation you might be in. You know, somebody's always needing help with something, you know. So I'm trying to get back out there to get another dog, hopefully soon, you know. But, you know, after losing one after 12 years, you know, that's a part of your family, it's hard. It's hard, you know.
I can imagine. Yeah, yeah. So again, if you could give us the information on how we can support you, you know, your website, kind of, you know, your IG, any of that information, so that some of the listeners can kind of support the cause that you're supporting.
My IG and Facebook is author Maurice McFadden. My website is mcfaddenbooks.com. That's MCFADDEN books BOOKS.com. And on the site, you have the coloring book, you have the regular book. Like I said, I have dog apparel, I have a t-shirt line, hoodie line, I got hats. So everything is right there. Like I said, percentage of the proceeds go back to animal shelters to help other shelters with, you know, with food, um, blankets, anything they need as far as taking care of shelter dogs.
All right. And I'll get the links on here for you and post them as well. And we'll make sure that we reach out and get some support on this.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the time, my brother. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Before we get out of here, I got a couple questions for you. So, one, being an author, what's a book that you would recommend to listeners to kind of pick up and read?
Um, well, I mean, I would say I got two books really, and it's by two different authors, but anything by Nikki Giovanni, and anything by another sister by the name of Nikki Finney. These are both poets that I got to meet, you know, from doing what I did in my poetry. But that's the stuff that drives me and keeps me going. Just reading their stuff.
All right. And my last question is, what's a quote that kind of like sticks out to you, that you've kept, close to you to use in the times that you need it?
Dream big because blessings do come true.
There you go. That's a good way to end it right there. Dream big because blessings do come true. Well, man, again, I thank you for your time. Man, look, it's a long time back. What, 13 years ago, I think I met you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Swagged out, selling doors, man.
yes,
And
sir.
here we are now. You selling books, man. I'm proud of you, bro. Thank you for always supporting me. I want to do the best I can to help support you as well, man.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate it, man. You know, anytime I can support you, bro, just let me know.
Got you. And when your next book comes out, you come back out. We do another ridiculously blessed podcast, man.
I appreciate it, brother. Peace and blessings.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too, brother.
Remember to like and subscribe and follow us on social media. Thank you for watching the Ridiculously Blessed podcast.